And from Ecuador, we receive more information from our correspondent concerning the latest developments after 12 days of protests and manifestations by CONAIE and other organizations of the strike that claims an end to the state of exception, among other demands.
Gracias, Marcela. Un saludo especial para la audiencia también de TeleSUR.
And special greetings to the audience of TeleSUR. We're on the 12th day of strikes and mobilizations in Ecuador. As a result of the call made by the Confederation of Indigenous Nationalities of Ecuador. In fact, we've already surpassed in one more day the protests of the social outbreak of 2019. At that time, it lasted 11 days, and now we are going for the 12 consecutive days. Unfortunately, yesterday at noon, the police brutally repressed all attempts of mobilization towards the National Assembly by CONAIE and other organizations of the strike. Do not forget that this is not only CONAIE in the events. The repression was very hard and gases flooded the whole area, and so far there are 4 people dead. Yesterday one of them was killed outside the National Assembly, and the police claim that they do not use that kind of pellets with which he was hit. So the question is then, who shot him head on? The Human Rights Report states that in 12 days there have been 67 human rights violations, 4 dead, 3 people missing, and 89 wounded. But it does not count the number of detainees, which seems to exceed 150 people. Up to now, there have been no possibilities for dialogue, nor have bridges or conditions for dialogue been created by the government if we take into account the repression and the deaths, or by CONAIE itself. That is to say, the CONAIE has not said that it will take a step towards negotiations because there are 3 points in these negotiations that they claim, namely demilitarization, attention to the zone where farmers and indigenous people are, and not to issue any decree until the state of exception is repealed. In these circumstances, we are at an impasse, so the protests will continue with more indignation, precisely because of what we saw yesterday. These deaths and attacks on protesters exacerbates the mood of demonstrators, and today they are preparing for more. But it is important to know that in the National Assembly, the bloc of the Revolución Ciudadana says it has all the signatures to initiate the process of the cross death. However, this does not mean not to vote the cross death. Just in case. That is to say, 46 signatures are needed to present the petition, and the Council of Legislative Administration processes it, presents the qualification for votes. In this process, President Guillermo Lasso has to go to the Assembly to present his report, to defend himself, and obviously to move on to political negotiation, because in order to remove him from office and have the Vice President take over, 92 votes are needed out of 137 in the Assembly. So we are attentive to these legislative movements that point to what many are saying, that the President is not in a condition to continue leading the country. But the votes in the Assembly are still necessary for that purpose.